Okay, we're back here at Moment Y Block, and we got our better 312. And last video we did was installing the timing cover, and I thought we'd quickly go over the fact that a torque, for any of you guys who like the torque numbers, on the 5/16 bolts, about 14 foot-pounds was what felt good to us. We usually just torque them by hand, but for guys who want a torque number, probably about 14 foot-pounds. On the 3/8 bolts down lower, about 20 foot-pounds. So what we've got here is we've got the front of the engine fairly assembled, and we wanted to just kind of show you the shortened timing cover. This is probably the first time we've ever shown a full shortened timing cover mocked up with the alternator, water pump pulley, belt, dipstick, the whole 9 yards. So going into it, and later on we're gonna do a video, I think, because there's some funky stuff you got to do to pull this off, but I don't think I'm going to get into it right now. Just going to give you guys a generic overview of what we did. And then if you guys are serious about wanting a short timing cover, we'll probably actually do a tech tip video where we do a deep dive on all the things that had to really happen. But yeah, the alternator bracket is special. It's a little bit different than our normal alternator bracket. You know, we have to take a little more off the back here and here. And then we also have to machine the front a bit farther. Over here, if it's going in a car application, there will be a tab that will be sandwiched behind the alternator bracket in between the head. If you were putting it in a rear sump application where you didn't have a dipstick tube here, you just have to put a little washer here. Like we said before, the pulley is one of the early deep small block Chevy pulleys. It has just the real typical 100 amp 1 wire alternators. And then we used the Innovator West damper, and these are cut, or not cut, they're for T-birds. And they have a really long hub on them, so we had to shorten it. And, you know, we had to reduce the diameter because there's a small block Chevy seal here. So the diameter of the damper is a little bit smaller than the Ford. I think it goes from 1 7/8 to a little over 1 3/4. And then down in here, when you shorten the damper that far, behind here, the snout of the crank actually sticks out, and then we have a special sleeve we make that allows the washer to not bottom out on the front of the crank. It actually hits the sleeve so that when you tighten this down, it actually tightens down the damper. The dipstick tube for any front sump applications, we had to make that special. So there will be a special dipstick tube, you know, for front sump applications. And what else? Oh, the adjuster bracket, I believe this is a off of a truck. I think it's just a generic Ford truck adjusting bracket there. And then the belts, you know, because like I said, to really do this, get the belt alignment right, it's going to depend on the pulleys you use. It's going to depend on, you know, diameters. Some pulleys, the belts, you know, fall into farther. Some pulleys up here, you know, the belts right higher. But I want to say right now we're using a 15-395. So this belt is 39.5 inches long. John said he wants, you know, or his preferred place for the alternator is just about straight up and down. Obviously, if you have room, you know, a little bit longer belt, you can have the alternator kick out. But if you go too far, the belt will hit the bolt on the bracket. So straight up and down is preferred. But other than that, you know, like I said, we'll save all the tech tips and dimensions for a different video. We just wanted to give you guys a good look at what the short cover looks like, all mocked up, and let you see it on the front of the engine and see if it's something that you're interested in. So for John and Jeff, Mummer Machine, Mummer Y Block, MMAD, all that good stuff, go to the website. Hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff, ring the bell. Have a good one.